Guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? Chris with a K here, Horns Down Podcast, and your guy, Mr. Students 360 himself, Chris Mason. We're here with yet again another uh, um, podcast about recruiting. I don't know why that my mind went blank right there. Regardless, people, please understand that we are going to be doing our show with Jason tonight. So we'll be doing the big podcast right after this one right here, just kind of the preview for the LSU game. So we're here for a good time, not a long time, but we got a lot of recruiting news that has heated up. Chris Mason, it looks like we need to jump into this, right? Because we're on a time crunch and we need to bump some stuff out. But again, it looks like you were right all along because we talked about
Maybe.
this. We talked about this a long time ago. A long time
Yeah.
ago, people. Chris Mason was one of the first people that said, "Hey, Hatton still in very much in play. It's just a thing of film, money, where we at, winning wise, this and that, and it happened." But Chris Mason, floor is yours. Tell us about this Hatton commitment.
Well, Jonathan Hatton is the number 5 running back in the nation, according to several recruiting services. He's ranked in the top 100 territory around the 80, 75 mark. He was verbal to OU early in his process, and then last December he decommitted from OU after the terrible season OU had on the field at 6-6 stuff. And then in the spring, he wanted to play for DeMarco Murray. He wanted to play at OU, but OU kind of let A&M get inside. And then in April, he kind of opened things back up. Seemed like he was about to choose OU. And then A&M, at the time it appeared that the reason why was that A&M dropped a bigger NIL bucket than Nagy was willing to match. At least that's what I reported on our various podcasts. And I said, well, watch out. Let's see if that changes, and if the situation changes. And suffice it to say, Nagy in April isn't Nagy in November.
Mm-hmm.
So Nagy had more time, look at film, assess Hatton, work with DeMarco, work with Hatton's family, and the front office had a chance to get involved and work on him, work with them, and OU has flipped him from A&M. A&M got a commitment from KJ Edwards from Texas, who's ranked slightly higher than Hatton. I don't think he's as good as Hatton. That's maybe a biased opinion, but Chris will back me up by saying that I've been high on Hatton even after we lost him. That
Yeah.
I've been very consistent that I think Hatton is an elite guy. That I wish we were involved with him
Well,
from that perspective.
well, not even that. Not only that, Chris Mason, but man, watching that film again, just see some of these senior highlights. Like, hell, I don't think DeMarco could go out there and handcraft or hand pick a better running back to fit his system. Don't get me wrong. I think the Walker kid is really good as well. Kind of gives you that thunder and lightning. But this kid is a people think of now. This is not the actual comp, but just trying to give you guys kind of just a visual. But for me, I think it's really Kennedy Brooks, like just because of the vision and being able to run that DeMarco style to the T. And when I watch his highlights, that's what he does. But this kid here, he has home run ability. He has a lot of capability as far as just to be able to see a hole and be able to go, but also he can run through trash. He can create for himself in the backfield, and he can get go get six. So I mean, that's the whole thing. Is that, man, watching that film back and looking at him again, I was like, hey, that's a DeMarco guy, and that's a guy that could pop and contribute early. Obviously, you gotta think: are we, since we take him, are we still in the Mickens hunt, or kind of what is the ramification? What are the positives and the negatives of getting Hatton right on the recruiting trail?
So you can't, once you got Hatton, you had to drop Mickens. And Mickens is already rerouting himself to Virginia Tech. So OU must have got word of this over the weekend and quickly let Mickens know, look, we're only taking 2 high school running backs in this class. and we managed to flip a guy we've had a longer term relationship with. Back to his senior highlights, guys. You can't watch this kid. He's 6'1", 215 range, depending upon who you talk to. He wears number 28, and the way he's home running some of these long plays, it's he's not AD, but when you watch that 28 blazing through on his runs, it's hard not to get not hard to be a little nostalgic about our great former running back. But yeah, this means that we've got Zephon Walker from St. Louis, who's a 4-star, and then you've got lead back, completely capable of enrolling early and helping us next fall in Jonathan Hatton, the best back that we really had a chance at recruiting.
Yeah.
And for DeMarco and Nagy to have coordinated and worked together and done this just shows what a front office, how the front office is supposed to work, right? We need to coordinate a little bit. He's faster than Xavier Robinson. Urban Jin was asking, is he faster than Xavier Robinson? He is. He's got the track times to back that up. He's like a 10.6, 10.7 track guy, based on
So
the last stuff I saw.
is he a guy that can come and contribute from day one? That's the question for me.
I,
Is he a guy that can help?
I mean, he's playing 6A Central Texas competition at Cibolo Steel. And like I think the second or third highlight you see, he's playing Austin Westlake. So he is playing the elite of Centex with that schedule. So in terms of level of competition, there isn't that he's not like he's playing low level football and he needs to jump up, right? Or
Yeah.
he's playing, he's playing like 2A or something like that. He's playing 6A football, and he put up 1,300 yards this year, 16 touchdowns off something that would give him close to 8 yards per carry average against the best in Texas. So then that's Centex area. So as Jimmy Satterfield says, I agree with him. Shout out to Jimmy. He's always on here. Always appreciate you, dude. I think, yeah, he enrolls early, doesn't have any injuries or anything occur. He's in the running back mix. And that's why OU, if they did maneuver some NIL money his direction to close the gap to A&M, to allow Hatton to say, I want to go play at OU. OU's moved a little bit. So from that perspective, I know San Antonio area, but he plays a lot of Austin area. Cibolo Steel plays a lot of the Austin area powers of Texas football. I think he's a definite contributor, and that's why OU made this move. They wanted to get a high school running back added to the mix who could contribute next year.
Okay. So, and I'm not saying okay to you, but we have a couple of comments, guys. I see the comments in here. I'm trying to. A lot of these comments are kind of the same in the sense of people are asking, like, hey, you need guys that can contribute right now. It's kind of a two-headed question as far as what you guys are really trying to get at, which is like, hey, okay, so we potentially could have a three-headed monster. You got a healthy X-Drive, healthy Blaylock, another year of progression under him and just development. And then also you would have Hatton, right? So obviously we're going to be, a lot of people are saying we're going to be down 3 running backs. We don't know yet, people. That's a video for another time.
We're down 2. We're down 2.
We're down 2 for sure. In my mind, I think we're down 2. I'm not necessarily sure what's happening with Barnes. I know Ott is gone after this year. What happens with Tatum? That's the question. So I definitely think that you're going to have to go to the portal and kind of solidify that room. And I'm not necessarily saying go get the best, go get the a Hardy, right? You don't have to go temper with that type of guy. But I think that you need to go get a guy because you got to get real production this year. You got to kind of make up for whatever the fumble or whatnot on Ott was. But at the same time, I think that you're going to be really good in that room going forward because you're going to have 2 high school running backs coming in, right?
Yep.
You're going to have X-Rob and Blaylock are going to be here. So that's 4 running backs. I think you need to go get another one if you have 2 or 3 leave, right? So that's just my opinion, Chris Mason.
Yeah, there's some roster shakeup happening at the running back position, right?
Yeah.
Outside of eligibility. So that's just move on to the NFL. Good luck with that, dude. Being a undrafted free agent. Good luck making an NFL career out of that. Barnes is obviously redshirting to go somewhere else and try and get a career going. Tatum's the strange one, just because we don't know we don't know how much of his injuries are really the big issue. Right? We don't know. DeMarco always sounds pretty positive in the kid in the interviews I've seen. So we'll see.
Well,
So
well, I was gonna say let's keep it moving.
you want to jump?
Um,
Let's jump to the Ja'Cory Smith thing, and we'll
you don't
go.
want to. You don't want. I was gonna talk about the more commits.
You want to do that first? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go ahead and do that.
Okay, so OU probably has at least 2 guys I think who could come in the next couple of days. Markel Ford is a safety from Mesquite, Texas, who visited. He's about 6'1", 200. He was committed to SMU. He's been involved with Brandon Hall for nearly 2.5 years. Brandon Hall's been recruiting this kid forever. So I think once OU knew that they could move him into this class with an NIL number that made sense, they went after him. I think SMU is like, well, we don't know what we have in that kid. And I'll be honest, at this point, I'll trust Brandon Hall's evaluation of a safety over anybody at SMU. So if SMU's willing to just walk away and give us a guy we want, I got no problems with that. So that's one guy I think will fall soon. I think, as we'll get to the Smith decommit later, but I think it's hard not to see a connection between OU pushing for Dane Bathurst, the Indiana rush end who OU wants to play at Mike linebacker.
Yeah.
I think it's hard not to see the connection there, right? That OU wants to get Bathurst. He's a Mike. He could be a big Mike for OU, big athletic Mike linebacker that could work out really well for the Sooners. And then there's obviously Jaden Petit, the wide receiver from Florida, who's verbal to Wisconsin still, and Wisconsin's kind of righting the ship a little bit. But Steve Wiltfong predicted him to flip to OU. I have an OU source telling me that they are very confident that that's going to happen. So we'll see.
All right. All right. Let's see. So Oklahoma or die. He says if Oklahoma makes the playoffs, recruiting in Norman is going to go through the roof. I think it already is, but I agree with that comment. One last thing. There goes our buddy right here, Bevo's bodyguard. Look at him. He's alive. He says, why would a person go to OU after the disaster of a running game this season? This is all I'm going to say to you, Bevo. Why would a wide receiver go to Texas whenever y'all got 2 5-stars riding the bench?
So let's just say this to Bevo. Let's just say this. So Texas just flipped a running back, a 3-star, mid 3-star from Minnesota.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Okay. OU just flipped a top 100 kid from San Antonio who was verbal to undefeated Texas A&M. Which program do you think is having a harder time running back recruiting? Minnesota or Texas A&M? Top 100 4-star elite kid or 3-star kid who was verbal to Texas A, who's verbal to Minnesota. He's from Georgetown, Texas. I've not watched a bit of film. He may be fantastic, but guess what, guys? Sometimes stars don't matter. But when you're taking running backs from Minnesota, okay.
It's all good. It's all good. We don't have to waste time on Bevo. Anyways, all right. So let's get to this to the Smith decommit. What's going on with that?
Well, okay, so we now have a GM. This is our first GM pro front office National Signing Day, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that Nagy took a look at the NIL money. He's trying to shift dollars around to get the best guys that OU needs in for the positions of need that they have. When OU got Jacob Curry, that kind of made DeCorey Moore somewhat expendable. They're both will linebackers. Jacob Curry is a little bigger. He's longer. He's higher rated. His film, there's more film of him, so he just looks better. DeCorey just posted some film today, a couple of days ago on the 22nd. It's not bad, but Curry's film just looks better. So, and Dreiling is the one making that evaluation on maybe who you keep and who you cut. So, Smith in interviews said that OU cut his NIL money, and he decided that that wasn't where he wanted to be, and he didn't feel like that was fair, and he's probably right. But every player on the OU roster, incoming or current, has an NIL number Jim Nagy's coming up with, and I think it was just a matter of OU has the Jandros in this class as well. Bo Jandro finally hit the field. He finally played a game. He looks pretty good. He looks mobile enough that he could probably play will linebacker too. So if you could get the Bathurst kid to be Mike, and then you've got Jandro at will and Curry at will, that works out well. And you've got Nico at Cheetah, so it leaves some of Ja'Cory Smith's flexibility and maybe his role, it reduces it. So maybe OU reduced his NIL, and they were like, well, we'll sign you, but we don't think that you're going to play for this long, and we can't have the number one thing you'll see from like recruiting guys from old schools. Teams cannot have money sitting on the sideline. OU learned this lesson with Jay Knott. You cannot have that cash sitting on the sideline.
Yeah.
You can't sign a 5-star guy and have them sit for 2 years not helping your football team.
No, yeah, you just don't have time.
So if you're going to if a guy's going to sit for 2 years in the development window, it's got to be an NIL number that makes sense. And in the same class, if you think one guy is going to be better than the other guy, then and then positional value also plays a role, right? I mean, that's just a reality. Defensive tackles, defensive ends, offensive tackles are just worth more than will linebackers. So I think that's where the Ja'Cory Smith decommit happened. I was surprised by it. Obviously OU has his ex-teammate, Omarion Robinson, is playing well for OU, and OU has his current teammate, Matthew Nelson, coming in. So I don't know if there's any ruffled feathers there, but, both of those guys, Matt Nelson, why is Matt Nelson not getting his number reduced? He's a 6'5", 230-pound defensive end who, flies off the edge. Just worth more, right?
Yeah.
Pass rushers, just worth more than will linebackers. And OU system, you got to go through like an apprenticeship under Brent to really be effective at linebacker. So if you have Jacob Curry doing it, maybe you don't want a second will linebacker in the same class. And final point, Nate Dreiling is just getting his recruiting chops going. 2027, OU's got a lot of great linebackers on the hoof. If they could pull the Alexander kid from Washington, I believe he is, Chase Alexander, and if they could get Jason Witten's kid, that's 2 more will linebackers right there. So,
hey, guys, I was just going to jump in here real quick and say, I know some of you are asking, like our guy here, Mr. Dilligaff.
yeah,
He says, does the Hatton flip prelude to running backs leaving after the year? And I know there was somebody else who asked a similar question. I think it was you, Jimmy, but we just wanted to say that we talked about that just a little bit earlier. That's a video for another day. I think we're under the impression that there are some running backs that are leaving. I think that's the common belief amongst everybody who's doing odds or just a fan. But it's definite now.
But Hatton's a take regardless. I mean, Hatton's your number one running back for the last 12 months, 18 months in this class. So you're taking him regardless.
Yeah, I mean, you were trying to get 2 running backs out of the out of the hype, out of just regular recruiting,
Yeah, yeah,
because
that's
they had
yeah.
put out a couple of offers or a couple of looks. There were other guys that we had heard about outside of Mickens and Walker, but this is what materialized. So it was
And
definitely a
this
pleasant surprise to see him flip today.
it was. So I was. I mean, when it flashed Friday night, Sunday night, this got flashed Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, out of nowhere. Steve Wiltfong posted that he thought OU was going to flip Hatton, and it's like, well, he's obviously gotten this from somewhere because he kind of caught several recruiting services flat-footed. The OU recruiting services for a couple of sites flat-footed with this. So yeah, I mean, but regardless, Hatton's a take regardless. If you have to move stuff around and take Hatton,
Yeah.
you do. He's possibly the best running back OU's recruited since Joe Mixon.
Here's a question for you.
Well, it moves OU up 3 spots on 247 and 2 spots on 3. When I put Hatton, if OU could close on Jaden Petit, as I think they will, that moves OU almost up into the 13th, 14th territory. So, both those two kids could move OU up nearly 4 spots.
Got you. What I was going to say to you, as far as the Missouri game, what are the things that you're hearing, the notes and all the rest of that stuff about kind of the attendees for that game?
Yeah. So the big news is that OU offered a 2027 QB, Jameson Roberts from Saraland, Alabama. He's 6'3", 6'4", 195 pounds. And do yourself a favor, watch his playoff footage. His last 2 playoff games are online on Huddle, and the kid has game. He is maybe he's Jaden O'Neal with more mobility. Kid's got a big arm, very accurate, but he also runs incredibly well. He's He's a 3-star right now. I think once the playoffs are over, if he goes to the right camps in the spring, I think he could easily jump into the top 150 territory. He looks that good. It's his first year. Um, Houston Buddy, House Buddy Pro, I appreciate the call out there. Tom Wart's not from the same part of England I was from, but I appreciate that. So I think that's the big news, Chris, is that we now have a 2027 QB offer. Steve Wiltfong already predicted him to OU. This could move pretty quickly.
And that's the Dane kid, right? Or
No. They offered the Alabama kid, the Roberts kid. The
okay,
Dane kid also visited. He didn't get an offer. He loved his visit. Could OU offer him as well? Yeah, I think there's a good chance there. The way I would look at it is Weber is more polished right now in his highlights because he's played longer, started longer. Roberts, this was his first year starting, I believe, because Texas took a Saraland quarterback that was the guy prior. So this is the first year this guy's been starting. But Chris, the ceiling on this kid it's really high. So it's a little case of, are you betting on what you see, or are you betting what could be there?
I gotta watch the film again. I know I talked to my uncle about some of the kids, and he mentioned that kid. He wasn't necessarily the biggest fan, so I gotta go back and watch the film to see
Tell him to watch his playoff film.
watch his playoff film.
His 3 playoff games. Tell him to watch those.
Real quick,
Um,
we got a super chat here. Mr. Dillagaff, thank you for the 4.99. He says, "Question: Do you think that Notre Dame jumps us because of OU's offense? The Notre Dame bias is a joke, and OU's ranked wins and strength of schedule should keep them ranked higher." We'll go there definitely since you did a super chat. Look, I talked about this earlier. I think what it all boils down to is just, if you're the committee, you have to kind of take a stance on the simple fact of, look, coach, if you're watching this, love you, but let's just be real. I get it. You went out there and dominated. You dominated Syracuse. You dominated a P4 school and beat them 70-7. However, at the end of the day, OU has 5 ranked wins. I don't care if Auburn was ranked months ago, and now they're not. Regardless, that was a way different team, way different vibe coming into Norman than what it was. That was an undefeated team at that time. They were coming off of a decent win against Baylor at that time. Regardless, Chris Mason, I just think that you can't set that precedent and let them jump a 10-2 OU that has battled their way through all of these ranked teams, highly ranked teams, and you went on the road and got two of those wins, something that, again, Notre Dame was not able to do against Miami, even though that game was a tight game towards the end, and then obviously it was a tight game up to a point against Texas A&M. Texas A&M started running away with that pretty much, at least with the momentum battle. So I just don't. I just don't know how you can set that precedent. What's your thoughts about that?
When you look at the strength of schedule and like game control stuff, Notre Dame is way behind OU in strength of schedule, strength of record.
Yeah.
And when you look at the game control stuff, other than the Syracuse game, which is kind of an outlier, I mean, Syracuse donated like 28 points before Notre Dame even took like an offensive play. It was just pathetic. So from that standpoint, I don't think they jump. I don't think they jump OU. I don't know. They don't have their schedule, which, for better or worse, their best win is USC, and USC just lost to Oregon. OU right now has two better wins in Bama and Tennessee, and OU just built a team that they beat a team they just ranked in the top 25 in Missouri.
Yeah.
And controlled that entire second half. So, you may not like OU's offense, but OU controlled the game and was leading by 11 points from the beginning, early in the third quarter to the end of the game. So, what do you want?
And it was kind of comfortable. Obviously, yeah, they scored that touchdown on that one play that was dropped, but if it was the fifth, we all be drunk, right? Because definitely.
Well, if it's an ends or pots and pans, if your auntie had balls, she'd be your uncle. So, I mean, it is the reality of the game is the reality of the game. So,
Yeah.
I don't see how the committee can move Notre Dame above OU unless they're just trying to gerrymander something involving Miami and trying to keep that Miami Notre Dame comp as far away as possible. But that's just BS. So we'll see what they do. I mean, there are some weird things that could happen this week that could change stuff up. But for right now, no, you can't move Notre Dame above OU.
And we'll get into more of that on the other podcast.
Yeah.
Again, 8:45. We're going to be going on with Jason here in a little while.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, last thing, Chris Mason, chime off about the LSU visitors now.
Well, we just finished real quick on a couple of Mizzou visitors. Gus Corsair, the 2027 center from Kansas, visited. He's been at OU all the time. He's the center I think OU wants in 2027, and that could be a verbal OU gets pretty soon. Also, OU had a big-time wide receiver on campus, Trey Moore, Eric Moore's kid, quarterback Eric Moore. He's 6'4", 190. He's back in Norman. He's a legacy. That could be a big name for 2027 for OU. LSU visitors. 3 names to watch. Malachi Franklin, the big defensive end from Alabama I mentioned probably on 2 podcasts ago. 6'6", 255. Just looks great on his senior film. Then Jonas Muya, the Indianapolis offensive tackle, 6'8", 290. He should be on campus for LSU. I think OU will lock that down. That's the kid who I would say Tyler Guyton's not the worst comp for. Then the third guy who's officially visiting is Noah Abibi, the offensive guard, offensive center from the Houston area, Friendswood, Texas, South Houston. He's 6'4", 290. He could be a center. He could be a guard. He's a 3-star committed to Tulane. I think OU flips him as well if he comes in for his official visit. So OU could have a rush of commitments right after LSU. One last name, Juju Johnson, the guy I mentioned in previous weeks. He's visiting for LSU. OU's way out ahead. Predictions for OU. He's deciding December 1st, right after his OU visit. And that would give you another top 100 defender in this class. I also think we could have a host of possible commit names. I'm sorry, of guys who could commit soon visit. Guys like Tevin Epps, Crew Jones, maybe Jackson Roper, plus a bunch of the in-state kids who are also on the fringe there. And Chris, last one thing. My sources tell me there are 2 or 3 26 surprises still out there that could show up in Norman for official visits. The OU's not done flipping folks.
Oh no, no. And we talked about times like this right here. Now it's coming to fruition, man. All right. Any LSU stuff? Because we need to go ahead and jump off of here and get ready with Jason.
Just that it's going to be a huge weekend. OU obviously has this has been an established window that OU could schedule around. Lots of national kids could be coming in. We could see lots of kids from Texas. We could see lots of kids from in-state coming in. Chris, OU has 7 verbals after getting Michael Davis last week, a guy I love on film. They've got 5 or 6 guys predicted to them. And Chris, there's another 5 or 6 guys who are visiting for the LSU game who I don't think they're going to commit to OU, but they could, and it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Got you.
That's the heater and the run OU's on.
And that's where it's at. All right, people, look, we're here for a good time, not a long time. We got 78 people in here, maybe more. Please like, subscribe, do all those different things with this video, and come check us out as we preview the LSU game. I definitely got some thoughts watching them, kind of watching the film, watching the Arkansas game, some of the Bama game, watching the Western Kentucky game, mainly just trying to get a feel for where is Michael Van Buren at, right? Because I think that's kind of where first, that's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of them right now. Secondly, the defense is pretty good, so let's check this out together. So with that being said, people,
let me get a couple of recruiting pitches in. First off, Wednesday night I'll be recording a new podcast that'll be on YouTube, all of the regular channels, wrapping up everything I can for you guys. So you've got 40 minutes of good recruiting content to listen over the Thanksgiving break. We will be back here again Monday night. That could be huge. We could have all kinds of news by next Monday. But also, we're going to be doing a live stream on Wednesday. Special live stream on Wednesday, signing day, recap. It's going to be a longer show. We're going to have more time for you guys to offer questions. We'll have all kinds of content for you guys in terms of grades, who we like, who's underrated, stuff like that. And we're going to have a show for you guys same time on signing day, December 3rd. It's coming up. I can't believe it's going to be here in 9 days. But it's going to be a mad rush to signing day with the way Nagy and the front office staff are working.
All right, people, check us out on another show. We'll see you guys soon.